You ready for our rap, Joy? Give it up for Joy!
Thank you. Thank you, Gina. I think. I want to also thank Richard, but in a whole nother way, for having me here. He came to me and he asked if I would speak about some of the work we're doing around inclusive practices. So surprise, I'm now talking about other things. But when he asked me, I promptly said no thank you and asked him, or explained to him that this was basically my worst nightmare. And then he said he was desperate for an observation in a timely manner. So I agreed to speak, and then he told Gina that this was not an observation. So there's a lot of conflicting information today. But at any rate, I did agree to speak because talking about inclusive practices goes back to the root of why I went into education personally. I initially pursued just a special education degree and had said I would never teach regular ed, that I just wanted to meet the needs of those students in the special programs, and that was my only pursuit. And then I was talked into getting a dual credential like most of you, and I'm happy that I did, and then also pursued administration because then I could reach more students and work with phenomenal staff members like I have at Depaoli in order to implement those inclusive practices. So when we talk about inclusive practices at Depaoli, I initially wasn't going to be here today because I was ironically planning to reschedule and reschedule and reschedule an IEP meeting, and it is rescheduled for next week. So in my absence, I had gone to a student, an 8th grade student, Jacob Campbell, who is an amazing student for a lot of different reasons, but I went to him to ask if he could help me gain some staff input and perspective and a little bit of student perspective to put together a quick video in case I wasn't able to make it. And after reviewing the video and the work that Jacob did, it's going to speak to what's going on at Depaoli regarding our culture of collaboration and inclusive practices better than I can. A little background on Jacob. He is a student in our STEAM program, and he is very good at what he does in working with digital media. But more importantly, he's an advocate for students with disabilities, and he has a younger sister who has Down syndrome, so he works with his mom frequently to advocate for his sister and students with disabilities, and he's quite amazing. He has some really great t-shirts that he didn't share in the video, but I'd like to. But in this video, you'll see some of the systems that we have in place that the staff is going to talk further about, and that's teaming, and I believe wholeheartedly in teaming at the middle school level. Similar to what Gina mentioned, it breaks down that large school environment to a smaller setting for our students, but also for our staff. And in our master schedule, the teams have a collaborative time, a common preparatory period where they can get together and collaborate. And that gets us to meeting the needs of those students in our special programs and special populations because they're able to co-plan with the EL teacher, the special education teachers, and our gifted and talented teachers. And like I said, they'll talk a little more in the video. At Depaoli, we're simply trying to live up to what Kendall Depaoli said herself, that public education allows us to frame our own futures, to choose what those futures will be regardless of gender, skin color, disability, or wealth. Public education is the great opener of doors, the leveler of playing fields, the purveyor of equal opportunities.
As a student, I like the school. Like, the school's nice and the teachers are respectful, and like, especially being in the GT program, it's even more interesting because I get to do more challenging projects, and basically I do what everyone else does, just at a higher level. It helps because the more challenged I get, the more I get to learn, especially because I have my 504 and help that, which a 504 is for ADHD. It's basically a plan to help kids with ADHD get through their day, so then it makes it easier for them and the teachers as well. If I have meltdowns or anything, I can easily take a break, or if I if I need something that helps me focus, I can put that in my 504, so then the teachers know that I'm allowed to use that. Being a student at Depaoli and the sister of a Down syndrome special ed kid, it helps me be understanding more. It puts me at a better place for myself as well as my sister. And during PE, the kids love having her around. They love being around her. They love having her play because she scores points for us, and I think it's the cutest thing because everyone lets her score those points without like doing anything.
Of course, there isn't always common prep time available or as much time available for this as we would like, but when we can make that happen, we'll get together during common prep time and we'll look over unit and lesson plans together. We'll check in with one another about overall objectives and ideas for differentiation. As the general ed teacher, I want to know from my co-teachers if they think this lesson will work for the students on their caseload and how can we adjust the lesson to differentiate better or to meet specific needs of our special population students. Sometimes we plan before or after school or even over the weekends or over holiday breaks.
Typically in our classroom, the co-teaching models that we use is the one teach, one support. That's where one teacher is giving the direct instruction and the other is circulating and assisting the students. Another strategy that we use is station teaching. That allows us to break the students up into small groups.
We hold all students to high expectations, and we believe that students need to be exposed to grade level content to make growth.
Some of the strategies that we use to support students by differentiating. We teach in a variety of formats. We read aloud. In all of our classes, we use visual and audio supports. We continue to provide background knowledge for our students.
We cross-content teaching to help tie learning together and to make the content more comprehensible.
And then how we collaborate to solve problems faced with challenged behaviors is that we informally check in with each other on a day-to-day basis. This could be through email, just out in the hallway. We also formally meet at least once a week to discuss our concerns and then also to provide positive feedback with what is going on in our classrooms.
And we also use that time to look at data on some of our students and see where they're making growth and where they're not.
We feel that teaming is beneficial because we get to have the same students, and that's great for our team time when we meet, and we encourage each other and support each other and our ideas, and we get to then celebrate our small victories to keep us encouraged and positive throughout the year.
As a team, we continue to ensure our students' success within the general education setting. Again, we believe we are a team. We need each other, we support each other, we believe in each other, and we think that all students can learn and they will learn because we have common expectations, procedures, and routines. They see them from one class to the next every day.
Students, they know that we're going to be here at school and present for them each day, so we're one thing that is reliable in their lives, that they will see our faces and they can make those connections and we can build those relationships with the kids.
We're not going to give up.
Right, not going to give up.
And if we were working in isolation, we might want to, but because we're working together as a team,
we support each other.
Yeah, we're in it.
You can see that the staff is 100% bought in. They believe that all of the students are our students and that collectively we're working together to meet the needs of those students. We talk a lot about teaming, and those are core academic team members. But outside of the team, it is also from our classified to our certified to our counselors to our admin that we feel responsible for being a part of, any part of a student's plan. We leverage those resources every day with our most challenging cases, which is why I believe that Richard actually asked me to speak. In the cases that we have failed and not seen success with our students, we come back together like this team mentioned, and we problem solve, and we find a way to be successful with each student, and when we're not, we reconvene. And it's just a process of problem solving and really not giving up. And I love what the team said about, lifting each other up, because there's some days that someone just needs to tell you, no, you're doing a good job. or I'm having success with that student in my class, let me share what I'm doing in order to find that success for a student. And I'm happy to share with you their perspective and their sense of collaboration at Depaoli Middle School, because I believe that's the only way to get to inclusive practices. Thank you. I don't know if Don wants me to wrap, so I'll just introduce Don McHenry.